Good afternoon, everybody. Oh my goodness, I'm looking around. This is Joy Lingerie. Welcome to Mature Missions. Well, I can't talk. Musicians interview with Meghanne Storey. Hi, Meghanne.
Hi.
And before we get started with the interview with Meghanne, I want to introduce my sponsor, Luscious Moss Studio in Edgewood, Washington, owned and operated by Chad Christ. And he began his studio with featuring drums and guitarists, but since then he's been producing a lot of music. He produces mine. So if you have any needs, you can find him on Facebook. He has a very warm, collaborative, creative environment for you to work in. And he can be reached at Facebook on Luscious Mouse Studio or Chad Christ. And you should find him in both places. If not, go out on the internet, put his name in, you'll find him there. With that being said, how are you today, Meghanne? It's so good to see you.
I am well. Thank you for having me. I appreciate this a lot. This is a lot of fun. It is snowing like crazy outside.
Wow. It is here too. There's a lot of snow on the ground. I'd say about an inch, not a lot, but it's enough. Nobody knows how
it's enough. I like snow when it comes and visits and then leaves the next day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I was at a jam last night at Duval. Doug's jam, Doug McGrew's jam.
Oh, yeah, he's my drummer. He's great.
Yeah, mine too. But I don't have a standing band, but we share that in common. Awesome. And anyway, there was snow, but underneath it was melted because it's still warm. The ground is still warm. So we have our hill that we have to go down and come up is just straight up and straight down. A lot of curves, and it was just fine. I was worried. I didn't know.
Yeah, I remember a few years ago watching all the cars slide down Queen Anne Avenue and kind of do this.
Yeah. Like, I had visions.
I'm so glad that's not me.
So anyway, I do want to go into your background in music. Since I don't know you, I've never seen you anywhere, Meghanne. I've only heard about you through Doug, our mutual contact, Doug. Give me an idea of what you started with and who, what kind of music you're listening to, who's influencing you at the time, and how did you get from there to here?
It's quite a story, actually. It's quite a story. I started singing when I was little. My parents and my sisters, I have a lot of brothers and sisters. I'm the second to the youngest. And they all say that I could sing before I could talk in full sentences. When I was 3, I memorized the entire soundtrack to Jesus Christ Superstar and drove everybody crazy.
I love that. I used to play that on my piano.
One of my all-time favorites. It's still to this day. It's one of my all-time favorites. I love it so much.
I don't know how to love you. That was
yes. Or I like what is it? Try not to get worried. Try not to hold on to problems that upset you. Oh, I love. Don't you know everything's all right? Yes, the same song. I love it so much. There's so many good songs in that. But that was the first thing that I did. My brothers and sisters all did music. My brothers had bands. My sister was, she did sound, she did lighting, she sang, all of that stuff. And I really wanted to be in their band, but they were like teenagers and I was like 5 and they wouldn't let me. My brother actually told me at one point, no girls allowed. And I'm like, but I don't count. I'm only 5. And he says, no, you count.
You don't still hear that? I still hear that from time to time. No girls allowed.
No, I don't hear that. I don't hear that anymore. I joined the Seattle Girls Choir when I was about 7 or 8. And I started singing with them and I sang with them for a long time. I advanced through the choirs. I got up to the intermediate choir and I started to work my way into the advanced choir before I was let go. And I was let go because of circumstances outside of my control. When I was 12, I ended up in the foster care system. And I slipped through the cracks because there weren't enough foster homes, and the ones that were available were really not good, and there was really bad things happening in them. So I ended up staying at a Denny's and then taking a bus back to DSHS. And then finally one day I was like, why am I going back and forth from DSHS to Denny's? I'm just going to stay here. And so I did. And I actually lived in a doorway for a few years under a bridge. I was a homeless kid in downtown Seattle. I lived in the Times building. I did Denny shelter, Graham Street shelter. Through that, though, I was able to participate in a program called Everyone Has a Song when I was 14. And I got to go into a studio and record a song that I wrote and learned the mixing and mastering process and see how everything went. We made a video. We did a Channel 9 special where they interviewed us, and they kept that program going for a really long time. It went until the guy who founded it passed away. The director, Charles Jefferson, passed away, which was really sad. But it was like they worked in tangent with the Seattle School District to try and get kids that were struggling in classes but had like a musical, thing about them. So maybe they could catch them by the music and be like, yo, there's another way to do this. It was a really good program. I learned a lot. And then after that, I sang for youth care fundraisers. I did the Rainiers game a couple times. I sang the national anthem for the Rainiers a couple times. I did a lot of private functions. And then I followed a boy off the face of the earth who broke my heart into a million pieces. And I started working at a Denny's in downtown Seattle. And I worked there until my hands fell apart. And I had a bunch of kids. I've got 3 kids. My oldest is going to be 25 next week, and my youngest just turned 11 yesterday. And I just now I wrote songs in my garage. I just kept writing songs in my garage, and I've always done music. Like, it's a coping mechanism for me. I wrote when I was living on the streets. I sang all the time. I've always done this. And when I was It was about 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I was in the middle of a divorce and I wanted to get out. And so I started talking to people and meeting people. And I met some guy on this dating website, and he was standing on a stage and had an amp. And I was like, hey, that's a cool amp. I don't want to date you, but that's a cool amp. And he was like, well, I write songs. And I'm like, well, I write songs too. And I sent him some of my SoundCloud stuff, and he sent me some of his stuff. And then he followed me around for like a year and a half going, when are we going to jam? When are we going to jam? Are we going to jam? You should be on stages. When are you going to jam? Can we jam? And then COVID happened and all of that. And so I never really got out. And then I finally was like, one day I was just like, okay, you have asked me like a million times, when are we going to jam? Meet me at this park. Let me make sure you're not a serial killer. And we'll go.
Yeah.
And so we did, and he wasn't. And we played music for about 2 years, and then we split up. We went different ways, and now I've worked with some other people while I was at it, and I got some new musicians to work with. And I'm working with Doug McGrew, drums, and Brant Park on guitar. And then I've got also a collaboration project with Raymond Hayden on piano, and we're just making music. And it's all about Madison Square Garden or bust is what I say, but it's all about the journey,
Yeah. Well, I have my guest next Monday is Raymond Hayden, and he also recommended you. So we have Raymond in common too. My goodness.
He's great. I love that guy. He is definitely one of my closest friends. I love him to death. He's like, man, what a great person. They're both, him and his wife, Jessica, are just amazing people all the way around. I love them both so much.
That they definitely are. And I met them during COVID, and it was Raymond who got me writing. He said, why don't you write a song? Yeah. I had my band, Gold Rush Fever. We started out as Gold Rush, ended up with Gold Rush Fever. Somebody stole our name, although we had a trademark. And yeah. And I went from 2000 to 2015. And then I took some time off. I had cancer and went through a lot of stuff. And came back, and I was volunteer for a while. So I have about 20 years. And so when he said that, I thought, well, yeah, why don't I? So I wrote songs, and I've been writing them ever since, and producing them and putting them on YouTube. So I strongly encourage, if you don't have a YouTube channel, to get one.
I do have one. I have a couple of them. They seem to pop up every time I release a song. There's a new topic channel I have to track down.
Good, great.
Okay, we'll do this.
So getting back to being homeless, I was homeless for a while when I got here to Washington. That was 27 years ago or more.
Yeah, that was me 30 years ago.
Yeah. And I had Fort Lewis. So I was working on Fort Lewis, and I had I had a military card, so I was able to do that. And I stayed in their primitive area for, they had 120 campground areas on fort, and I stayed there. And I had a brick for a phone that would allow me to call the military police if I ever had any issues. But I wouldn't stay in a shelter in this area because I worked in the club. I didn't get home until late, 2 o'clock in the morning, and they want you to be up and dressed by 8 o'clock. And I'm like,
and they usually have like check-in times. Like for us, we had to be there between 7:30 and 8 o'clock.
Yep.
And if we weren't there, we didn't get in.
Yeah.
So we would often like start sitting around the doors at like Denny's shelter at like 6 o'clock so that we didn't miss that. And there was like, limits. So you can only have 18 kids in there. So if there's 35 kids standing outside the shelter, you want to make sure you're first in line.
no. So I kind of understand a little bit about that. I can't imagine you living on the streets in Seattle. I mean, I don't know how long ago this was, but that's a dangerous
It was
place.
30 years ago. I was homeless when I hit the streets. I was 12 and I was there until I was 16. I got emancipated when I was 16. I went to college.
Wow.
I have a couple of master's degrees now. I own a house. I've got kids. I write music. I turned my life around. It's possible. I think I have a real heart for homelessness though, because it's hard out there, and it's hard. And there's a mentality that comes along with it, and you kind of get stuck in this place of there's us and them, homeless people versus normal people.
Mhm.
And normal people look down on homeless people. So there's this huge separation, right? So you're not even part of the human race anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like it's such a weird place to be. But, horrible things happened out there. They did. But a lot of really cool things happened, a lot of really cool experiences. I got to meet a lot of really cool people. I built this incredible family for myself, and I love every member of them. And to this day, we're still very close. We talk. You'll see them on Facebook sometimes where they'll be like, "Hey, Megan, look at you. You've come a long way, kid." And it's just it's nice to be able to have that, connection with those people, because we've lived out there for 4 years by ourselves with no parents.
So that answers my question, but it brings up some other things. But I want to recognize a person who has left a message for you.
Absolutely.
Sharon Beadle. It looks like the name is Sharon Beadle. She says, "Wow, great, good luck."
Oh, thank you.
There is a little window up on the excuse me, on the upper right hand side of your screen if you're not all the way open.
Found it.
Yeah. So we'll kind of watch that for people who might want to comment or ask you a question.
Okay.
So that had to be a traumatic experience. I know mine was not, but
I was so
no idea
young.
how it was.
I honestly didn't know any different, and I was so young, and it was being homeless was way better than being in foster homes.
Yeah.
It was way better than being in any foster home. Some of these receiving homes, I could tell you stories.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I do actually. My shows, I tell stories a lot. I like to talk about different things that happened, places I went, things I saw, things I've done. I ran away and joined the circus for a while. Yeah, I've done all kinds of things. And I like to tell those stories because I'm like, at the end of the day, my whole goal is for people, when they leave one of my shows, if they see somebody walking, whether they're walking out on the street and they see somebody sitting there who's homeless, they don't have to give them any money. They don't have to give them anything, but maybe smile and be like,
a human being.
You're a human being, man. I see you. That's it. Just that's enough. That's really all they need.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. So how do you think this experience that you had, I still think it had to be a little traumatic, but I mean,
probably
not having, I know what that feels like, so I understand. But how did you think that plays into your music and how you, once you were out of that, you were working on your life. How do you think that plays into the music that you're producing today?
Oh, tremendously. It shaped me as a human being. It's those experiences during your formative years really kind of grow you into who you are today, who you are as an adult. I have some protective factors that I must have. I don't know what they are because I'm not that analytical of myself. I can't focus that much, but I know that there's protective factors that people have that allow them to be resilient to traumatic experiences and allow them to be able to bounce back quicker or easier than maybe other people can. And I know that I have that. But it definitely did shape me. The music that I put out today has a lot to do with, it's coping skills, right? Writing music is all about coping skills for me. It was about functioning, dealing with emotions that I didn't feel like I was able to express to people. It was being alone and needing to not feel like I was alone. It was being cold at night. It was a lot of different things. There was just a lot of things. It was not getting foster placements that I wanted, not being chosen for a group home position that I had really hoped that I would get. Just different things. You write about things. Boys. There was a lot of songs about boys. It was just it was a coping skill for me. And as I grew up, it was such a, I think that a lot of people, when you're in a position like that, would turn to alcohol or drugs. Right. I turned to music. So that was my coping skill, where some people cope with the world by checking out, by getting high or getting drunk or whatever. And I did it by writing a song. Yeah. I would just write because it would take me away.
Music heals. It's true. Music heals.
It does. It really does.
Man. So from that experience, go ahead.
Go ahead.
There's a little delay here. So I was just thinking about the songs, and you were talking about how, what you write and how you now express that through what you say when you're singing. And I was thinking, well, from that experience through to where you started performing, having the opportunities to perform, did you notice any difference between the years or during the years as you were progressing to where you are now, as far as how you were beginning to grow as a person, a singer, songwriter?
Funny you should mention that, actually, because up until about 3 years ago, I really didn't notice much of a change in me. There was, I just was writing songs in my garage, and, I'd always challenge myself, or I would cover something. I'd hear a song on the radio and be like, oh, I want to sing that. That's going to be so cool. I've got this idea. I've got that idea. Oh, I could sing harmonies over this part. I can cut that out and bring it in, and I would do all kinds of mad scientist stuff in my garage. But I just lost track of what I was going to say. What was the question?
I was asking you if you, as you were growing and how you were.
Yes. So over the last 3 years, since I've actually been performing and been out doing this as much as possible, because it's the best high I've ever had in my life. I've grown a lot. I've particularly this last year and half a year, 8 months, 9 months or so is just been an incredible amount of growth. I've learned a lot of things. I'm a lot more confident. I feel stronger as a person. It hasn't been much musically that's grown. Vocally, I've definitely improved because I sing all the time. And I've gotten better at my instruments because I play them more often, right? But I feel like as I've grown over this last year, what I've grown into is myself. And I've never been happier in my life. And I really feel comfortable and confident with who I am for the first time in my life. And I'm good with that, which is kind of amazing.
Yeah, I know. I came from a different background at a much later age than you, and I think my schooling probably is what kept me from going over the line when I found I was here alone, homeless.
So
a lot of things have negative things. That's right. And it was a real kick in the teeth to my confidence, but I survived it. But it took me a long time to be able to confidently perform my music after I'd had my band, and I've been performing all this time. And then I found myself having to start all over again, only at a much later age. And I just, one challenge after another. If the guys wanted a female singer, it seems that they go for the younger girls. And
They
I,
do.
and it was like another, it was just like out of the past, it was another blow to my ego. So it took me a long time um, in these last 5 years to grow past that and feel confident in the songs that I'm writing and feel confident enough to sing them. I'm just now relearning all my songs so I can do them by my, solo or with another person. I still feel uncomfortable being alone, being up there by myself. I think
Man, I threw myself out there. I wasn't going to do any kind of solo stuff because I have to be honest with you. I've had 9 surgeries on my hands and they are not great.
Yeah, I hear you. God.
They are not in great shape. I have this thing called Kienbock's disease, and my lunate bone in both my wrists disintegrated from waiting tables. And so I've got plates in this hand. It doesn't move. I've had fusions. I've had bones removed out of this hand. I've got a huge plate and 13 screws in this hand, and nerves moved. I mean, everything you could think of. Just it's so crazy.
Do you believe in a higher power?
I do. I believe very much in the universe. I am a child of the universe.
Well, have you ever said, like I have, what the heck are you doing to me?
Well, I feel like what the actual reality is that the hand thing is actually me doing it to myself, and my guardian angels are chasing me around with bubble wrap, trying to get me to slow down.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, but I still play. I play all the time. It is what it is.
It is.
Right. I cannot hold a pencil to save my life. I talk to text. Typing is a challenge, but I can play the guitar and kind of the piano still. And I work on my flute every day. My hands, I had a surgery in February where I cut through 2 tendons and 5 nerves in my hand, and flute and piano are still kind of, we'll get there.
I'm sorry, Megan.
Nope.
I know it's hard enough to do it when you're old with aches and pains, but I'm sure that's probably another challenge, and I don't want one like that. Sorry.
Oh man, you just got to keep plugging ahead. Just keep doing it. You can't let things stop you. You can't let anything stop. When you have the music is such a gift, and it needs to be shared, and not everybody has it. And it's like we all have like this vibration that we're able to tune into that other people can't, and it's our job to share that. So in whatever capacity that we can, we need to be doing that.
Absolutely. So I don't know what kind of music you do. You have to tell me a little bit about, okay, so now you've gotten through all of the things, well, more or less. At least they've passed to some extent. Your hands are a whole different issue, but
it's an issue. It is.
What kind of music did you find yourself doing now that you're performing again and you're out there? And this last year has obviously brought you some satisfaction in a way it hasn't before. So what kind of music are you moving towards? Are you actually your genre or genres?
I like to consider myself alternative folk rock. I know that I have a folky kind of feel because I like to tell stories with my songs. And I like to, point out uncomfortable things or talk about contradictions or, be right in the moment. Like, this is how I feel right now. You're going to hear me. And I do it with an acoustic guitar. And so I call it alternative folk rock. I do like to sometimes pull it in like an electric show and just like go all out. But it's alternative folk rock. I like to cover songs in my own way. I tend to take things apart and put them back together differently. I like to change all kinds of different stuff. Sometimes I'll cut lines. Sometimes I'll add things. Sometimes I'll just completely change chord lines and be like, I'm going to sing these words to this chord line and you get to guess what I'm singing.
Good for you. I do that. Creativity.
It's so fun. It's just so fun. And so like, I like to do that, but with Raymond Hayden, it's more of like a cinematic kind of it's hard to really discern what the genre is that I do with Raymond. It's more of like I consider it cinematic, but I've been told by a lot of people it's like pop music. It's considered popular music. It's kind of like Adele, Tori Amos, female vocalist with a piano in the background and synthesizers. Sometimes there's orchestras. We had Lynn Sorensen come in and play violin for us on the last one that we just did, which was a cover of Silent Lucidity.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I love that.
He's done that for me too. He's quite the guy when it comes to that. But unlike you, I see him almost every Sunday night at a jam, and we go at it head to head and toe to toe.
Nice.
Last night I was telling people
jams as often as possible. It's just I love going. It's just so hard trying to find time.
Yeah. I thought I was telling him somebody out there, please call 911. We're arguing.
That's great. I actually just did 2 recordings with Lynn with Doug and Brant, and they're going to be coming out here in the next couple months. I'm really excited.
I like to hear.
Yeah,
so that reminds me, you have something that you would like people to hear, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So now what is this? Can you introduce what we're about to play online?
Yes, this is a song. It's called Amen. It's a collaboration, one of the collaboration songs I did with Raymond Hayden. I really have a heart for this song. I feel like it talks about, I feel like I'm making up for lost time a lot of the time. And I say that to people. I feel like I'm chasing ghosts. I'm walking in big shoes, trying to find my own place. And I wish I hadn't stopped when I did. I wish I would have kept going because I feel like I'd be in a different place now. And so that's what this song is about. It's about, finding your voice and finding yourself and standing up and doing what you believe in. And, even though you're running through echoes and caverns and that's all you can hear is echoes of the past, keep going toward the future.
I hear that. So let's see if I can get it up on here. We've been successful so far. Let's find out.
I don't know what to write. Quiet fills my mind tonight. It's strange and all-consuming, and I feel like I failed myself. Had my one chance to tune in. There is danger up ahead. It replaces the quiet I feel instead, and my spirit fills with fear. What message will those people hear? Will my words be lost in all of this endless sound? Will my feet find the ground? Hard noise, the quiet I feel instead, and my spirit fills with fear. What message will those people hear? Will my words be lost in all of this endless sound? Will my feet find the ground? Will my feet find the ground? In the emptiness and quiet space, that's all that's left inside this place. Just emptiness and quiet space. My voice is cracked and tired now. It's from trying to find my way out. I am weary, but I am standing here, and I'm trying to make my message clear. But I wonder what those people will hear if my words ever happen to touch their ears. Will my words get lost in all of this endless sound? Will my feet find the ground? Will my feet find the ground?
Wow, Megan, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
That's just beautiful. Sounds
Thank
like an angel singing. Now I know what Doug is so excited about. That's amazing. Really beautiful.
I love Doug. He's so great. Thank you so much.
Yes, for me, I'm not my music is kind of it's country, it's other things, but I don't have that beautiful a voice. That is like an angel singing.
Thank you. Thank you. I drove a lot of people crazy for a lot of years and just never stopped. I don't know.
Well, it paid off.
Yeah, it did. I mean, well, I had the training too. I mean, the time I spent with the Seattle Girls Choir was actually invaluable to me. They taught me a lot about enunciation and, vocal placement and, head voice versus chest voice versus low chest. And then they told me that I have 2 head voices and 2 chest voices, which I would have never known that by my own. I just learned a lot. I learned a lot about theory and the construction of songs and the structure and the way that they kind of take them apart and put them back together. And, all about harmonies. I was always an alto.
Well, it's amazing, and I like it. So
Thank
and
you.
I'm sure
Thank
other
you.
people will. Now, I have a question about a couple things. Like there was some. I was trying to listen for all the instruments that were in there. It sounded like the piano. I'm not sure what else there was in there, or a keyboard. I'm not sure. Can
That's
you
all
tell
there
me?
is in there is the keyboard. That's just me and
Were you?
Raymond.
Is that you? Is that you playing too?
No, that's Raymond Hayden. That's him
Okay,
on the
yeah.
piano keys.
He's played on one of mine too. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
beautiful.
he's fabulous. I love. I have a great collaboration project with him that I just love doing. We are actually having. We're going to be doing, and we got another song that we're going to put out next month. Called Ghosts in the Shadows. And then we have a couple other stuff that's actually kind of sitting waiting that we need to get in to put out. I'm really excited about the stuff that we have going on with him. He's a very, very, very cool person with a lot of knowledge. And
yeah, he definitely has a lot of knowledge and practice with that piano of his.
Yeah.
One thing where was I? Oh, how did you get the words? Where did you get the program to put the words up there with the CD cover?
I didn't do that, actually. Jessica, Raymond's wife, did it. I don't have a clue on how to make those things. I wish I did. I'm learning how to use iMovie on my phone. I sit and mess with it like for 20 minutes every night. And I haven't really gotten very far yet. So I'm probably going to have to find a couple tutorials to watch. But it's always a challenge. Technology is just not. It takes a team, it takes a team effort. I do a lot of stuff on my own. Like I spend a tremendous amount of time booking shows, doing podcast interviews, writing songs, running calendars, creating set lists. I like to go and do jams a lot. I have a lot of creative stuff that I'm working on. Like we have a cool show that we're doing next month in March, a couple of them actually. And I work a lot, really hard on that stuff. And like, I get super overwhelmed. So it's nice to have such an awesome team of people that help me and support me and that I can help and support in turn. And it's just like, we become like this great family.
Amazing. Just amazing. I would love to know. I know she's never going to do it. I mean, it's a negative thought. I know how busy she is and how.
Oh, Jessica, yeah, she's incredibly busy. Yeah, I appreciate her so much. I really do. They're both such wonderful people. I can't even tell you, like they've opened their hearts and their home to me. And I'm just like, wow, you guys are amazing. And I've known them for about a year. I met Ray at the Washington State Independent Music Awards last year. And he won he won Local Legend and I won Up and Coming Artist of the Year. And I was like, we should write a song together. We should do that. And he was like, yeah, I think we should. And then it just exploded. And now we have a bunch of songs.
I'm glad to hear that. That's wonderful. Good, great opportunities for you.
Yeah. It's just all about, you have to build yourself. You just have to keep doing it. You can't give up.
Yeah, well, I haven't got that many years left. I'm getting close to the edge.
No, it's never too late. If I told myself it was too late, I wouldn't be here because I am actually 46.
Well, I'm 81.
My 30s all the time, but
I'm 81. I'm 81 years old.
My hat's off to you because I would have never guessed that ever in a million years. Never.
Well, I'm pushing the envelope. Yeah.
I want to look as good as you at 81.
What's that?
I said, I want to look as good as you at 81. You look amazing. I would have never guessed that.
Yeah, well, I'm just glad I get my hands and fingers are able to do what they can do. And, sometimes I forget words and sometimes, goes better than others, but
I think that's par for the course.
I haven't really put myself out there as much as I like. I couldn't find the opportunities and it's been difficult. My husband before had done all the booking and he was, more or less the band manager. He's been unable to do that. So I've had a lot of obstacles and I'm still fighting them. But I get out every now and then, which is nice. And
I'm gonna have to come check you out at a jam one of these times.
Please do. I go every Tuesday to the Oxford and every Sunday night, 7 to 11 with Doug McGrew and obviously not anymore, but
I've been wanting to go to that jam. Sunday nights are hard for me. I'm a single mom.
Remember, it's a dive bar.
I don't mind that part. That part's fine. I love dive bars. Those are great. In fact, dive bars are one of the best places to play, I think, for jams. Like I go to Dawson's out in Tacoma on Wednesdays all the time.
Yeah,
but I'd like to go out there to the Duval
I've
Jam.
done that a time or two.
Yeah, I've never been up there. My aunt lives not too far from there, and she's a jammer too. And I'm like, maybe we should go hit this jam, Aunt Linda.
Yeah, do come up. And, I also go to one in Maltby, and I know Southern people. When you're south of the invisible line, it's kind of hard to come up north. But what happens is near the two may meet. So. It's a whole different ballgame north of this invisible line. And
right.
So I do go to those jams and there's one in Maltby at the Pizza Place. Maltby is still pretty far north for you, but I would encourage you if you ever get a chance to come out there as well.
I do come up that way. I have a sister that she lived in Everett, but she just recently bought a house up in Mount Vernon. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go up and visit
That's
her.
even further north.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go check out the house and see what they got going on. And I'm like, well, if I'm gonna be up north, I might as well hit some jams while I'm up here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I will definitely be around. I'm gonna have to find some time. It won't be this month, but I'll figure it out because I need to go out there and see the house anyway. It's perfect excuse.
So we have a few minutes left. If you, what time is that? 40 minutes. Before we do that, I would like to know. Obviously, you're having problems playing instruments because of your hands. So I want to ask you about instruments. But if your hands are in better condition, would you be playing the piano, the guitar, the flute, or?
If my hands were in better condition, I would be a piano player. I started playing the piano when as soon as I was big enough to sit on the bench and reach the keys.
Right.
I would be a piano player. I play the flute also, and I do love my flute, but violin and piano are my home instruments. Those are the things that I played the longest. I love them. I cannot bend my hand enough. It doesn't bend.
Yeah.
I can't bend it I can't reach the strings on a violin anymore, which is really heartbreaking for me. And I've tried doing it a couple different ways, but the posture thing is really an issue. When you're playing a violin, you really have to have your posture right. Otherwise you get back problems, your shoulder problems and neck problems. And I couldn't keep the posture straight. So I can't play the violin anymore. The flute is another one. I would put flute on every single one of my songs if I could get my fingers to work.
Well, I got into guitar from the piano because you can't take a guitar to campfires and sing.
Right.
Not the piano. You can't take a guitar. You can't take a piano.
That's why I started playing the guitar, because I was living in a doorway and I didn't have a piano. And I was like, the Guitar Center hadn't opened up on Westlake yet when I got my guitar. It opened up a few months later. But it was a Firestone actually before that. And they had a big giant hole in the back of it where we would put all of our stuff during the daytime. And I stuck my guitar in that hole one day and I came back to get it and it was gone.
No. Oh,
but
no.
I played the guitar. That's why I learned how to play, because I was like, you can't take a piano. It's hard to pick a piano with you anywhere. And this is just a lot more versatile for going around places. It's easier to carry. You can put it in a case. You can put your clothes in your case.
Yeah, true.
You can put everything.
I never tried that, but yeah, you can.
The guitar case was a huge, great hack.
True. So from here, how do we get a hold of you? I know you said you're on YouTube. I don't know if you're on Facebook. I reached you on Messenger, which is my favorite place to go. I have 3 accounts. I have my Country Hop Music Business page where we're broadcasting this from. Mm-hmm. And I have my regular Facebook page, and then I have Matured Musicians, which I would recommend heartily that you upload things like the piece that you just had here, so people can hear you out there. Other musicians can hear you. And any gigs or whatever that you have coming up. It doesn't take that much, and it's pretty much like Messenger. You just go to search in your Facebook page, and it'll bring up, and type in Matured Musicians Group. It'll pop up, and it's fairly easy to upload to it.
Okay. I will do that.
Okay, good.
I
definitely want their song on there. That shows everything that you are into. I just think it should be seen everywhere.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. I'm like, I spent so long trying to do things other than music because somebody told me when I was younger that music isn't a career. And I went through my life. I mean, seriously, I tried to go to school. I tried to be a restaurant manager. I've tried to be being a teacher. I've done everything, and every door just keeps getting shut in my face and shut in my face.
I've been there.
Here we are. Music stays open. So somebody told me wrong at some point, and I'm glad I figured it out.
Right. I am too. Absolutely. So other than that, do you have a band page or a website to speak of, or is it mostly down?
I do. I have my webpage, which is meghannestorey.net. And it's
hold on a minute.
okay.
Right. My tablet. Oh, there it is. Meghannestorey.net.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I have a Facebook page. I have 2 Facebook pages. I have a business page, and then I have like a fan page. And on the business page, I post all the events. And then on the fan page, I'll interact with people, share things, post reels, videos, pictures. I like to call out my guys a lot because they're my favorite guys in the whole entire world. Brant, Doug, you guys rock. And Raymond, you rock too. You guys are like the best. So I'm always like, let me find a way to love on these guys. I have an Instagram page too. I'm still trying to figure out Instagram, but I think I'm on my way. I think I'm on my way. Twitter I have too, but I forget about it all the time. So if you find me on Twitter, I probably haven't updated it in like a month. I'm sorry.
So this business page was the meghannestorey.com.net.
.net. That's my webpage.
Oh, okay. And then
Meghannestorey.net.
what is your YouTube page?
My YouTube is just Meghanne Storey.
Okay. All right. And your business page?
My business page is also Meghanne Storey. I'm trying to figure out how to change. I'm going to probably add band onto my business page, so it'll say Meghanne Storey Band at some point, because that's more band stuff. I talk about Raymond on there. I talk about the guys.
Okay. So what gigs do you have coming up, or events or projects that you've got in the works?
Okay. So I have tons of gigs. I love to gig. That's like my favorite thing in the world to do, is to go out and perform live and talk to people and meet people and tell stories and engage with people. I think it's great. I like to tell stories about like the songs that I've written, or where the working title of my friend Nella is always like, hey, what about the hot dog farts? And if you want to know that story, you have to come to a show. I'll tell it. But yes, that's a thing. I love to just talk to people. It's my favorite thing in the whole wide world. So I gig every weekend, if at all possible. This Saturday, I'll be at the Vault Tap House in Black Diamond. I'm going to be in Cleolum on the 22nd. Next month, on March 1st, I have a house concert with Raymond Hayden. And I'm really excited about that. We have a special guest coming to sing with us, and we have a big announcement we're going to make. We're going to do our first live performance of Ghosts is going to be there, and the tickets are on sale for that right now. So if you get onto Facebook and stumble across that, or look at my business page, you'll see the event, and there's a link for tickets there you can buy. I also have my very good friend, Sunny Joe Loudon from the band Sunrest.
Okay.
And I are, if you haven't heard of her, you should totally check her out. She's amazing. She's absolutely amazing.
How do you spell her name?
Sunny.
Funn.
S like S like summer. S.
Oh, Sunny.
Yeah, Sunny. Sunny. Loudin.
Loudon. Sunny Loudon.
Sunny Loudon. Yeah.
Loudon. Okay.
And her band is called Sunrest.
Sunrest.
Yes.
Okay. I'll look her up. Maybe I can get her on here.
Oh, you'll love her. She's fantastic. She's got a great voice too. Man, I love her to death. She and I are doing we're putting a spotlight on creative women in the Northwest. We've put together, it's an art show. So we've got visual art from all around, creative women coming in on March 23rd to the Spanish Ballroom to set up displays. We've got live musical performances happening from myself and from Sunny and from another friend of mine named Gina Bellevue, who is also fantastic. And then we're going to have artists from all over the place, and people can come in, they can walk around, they can buy something, they can meet people, they can talk. I'm really looking forward to it.
All right.
That's on March 23rd. And then I have show announcements. If you look at my Facebook page, I have show announcements for all the different places that I play at.
Okay. Well, everybody out there, I hope you heard all that, know how to find her. If not, she will post. She did say she posts some mature musicians. Hopefully, she'll put these on there for you.
Yes, I will.
Find her. Great. Super. So we have about 10 minutes left, and I'd love to hear you play.
Okay. Let me tune this thing. Let's see. What am I going to play today?
I know this song. It's called Tuning.
This is the top 40 hit. I'd say it all the time.
Sure, everybody does it.
Most popular song. It's played multiple times at every show. Everybody knows it. We just need to put some words to it. G. It's still flat. Okay.
Now make it a deal. I'll make you a deal, Megan.
Yeah.
I have a YouTube page too, and I'll follow you if you follow me.
Absolutely. I'm all about that. Let's do it.
I'll send you the link.
That sounds good.
Right,
do you want me to play an original song or a cover, or do you care?
It's up to you, girl. This is your show.
Oh, what am I going to play?
I'm going to remove myself, but remember, I'm still here.
What am I going to play? Okay. I'm easy for myself because of my fingers. We're going to play a song I wrote. It's called The Precarious Balance. And I love this because people talk to me a lot about how life is full of balance and you have to have balance for everything. And you need to make sure that you're doing this and that and not just this. And I'm terrible at balance. It goes along with the patience concept. I'm not a patient person. I try to be patient, but patience, that sucks. So I wrote a song about the precarious balance that everybody asks me to have all the time. It's such a precarious balance. Only hope-based moves, no malice. Learn to breathe in the freshest air. Then learn to turn around and walk away from there. Know that this all is planned out in advance. Nothing left to chance or happenstance. It's such a precarious balance. Only hope-based moves, no malice. And it's so hard to maintain. This imbalance causes you such pain. And then it leaves you all alone, nursing all your open wounds, all on your own. It's such a precarious balance. Only hope-based moves, no malice. And vengeance keeps that clock from ticking until you find a way to fix it. And can you find a way to bring the joy? Free up that inner girl or boy. And don't forget the balance. Only hope-based moves, no malice. Feel free to feel the energy flow. fragrance from the flowers as they grow. It's such a precarious balance. Only hope-based moves, no malice.
Bravo. Lovely. Absolutely lovely, Meghanne.
Thank you. I am glad you enjoyed that. Thank you very much.
I did, indeed. I absolutely
Thank you very
did.
much for inviting me on your podcast today. This was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed getting to know you and meet you. And I want to meet you in person because I have a lot of questions for you now.
Well, I hardly ever get south. And then when I do get there, it's not for long. I usually go out. There's a place down in Grand Mound area, and I do a concert there every like an hour every summer, and it's called the Appaloosa. I'm sorry, Chronopalooza.
Oh, I know what Chronopalooza is. That would be fun. I want to go to that.
Yeah, get a hold of Kevin. I'll send you his. You can get him on Facebook.
Okay.
Is
Is it Kevin
his
Enlow?
last name in? Pardon?
Is it Kevin Enlow?
Enslow, no.
No.
I can't remember what it. Maybe it is. I'll look. I promise you, I'll look. So, yeah, and maybe we can see each other down there. I
was supposed to actually play at the Oxford last night, but I woke up yesterday violently ill,
really?
and I was like, I think I should not go anywhere.
I saw that it was canceled. That was you. Oh, for heaven's sakes!
I was so sick yesterday. I don't know, and like. Luckily, my friend Ryan, I had a great show there last night, and I'm so glad that he did. He is phenomenal. If you don't know Yotes, check him out too. He's great. He's like all over the place, and he's just great. He plays with the Rooster Tails.
Davies. His name is Kevin Davies.
Kevin
Davies.
Got it.
Yeah, and this guy you're talking about right now, can you send me his name?
I sure can. I will do it right now. Yotes.
All right. So what I'm going to do is send you the link for YouTube as soon as we get out of this, and it updates everything.
Yes, I am excited about this, and I'm going to send you my YouTube link too. Okay. Thank you so much again for inviting me on your show today.
Welcome. We're not through. I still haven't worked.
There's still more. Okay, I'll try it.
So when you're at a gig and you're playing your music and you're singing from the soul like you do, what is your rapport with the audience? How do they react to you, and how do you react to them? And give me an idea of how that works for you.
I really like to talk to people. I really like to tell stories. Like I said, I tell stories about growing up. I tell stories about songs that I've written. I find that people kind of connect with me usually when I start bringing up the homeless stuff. They usually have somebody in their life who's been homeless or is currently homeless, or they were homeless themselves. And that seems to really that generally gets a lot of engagement from people. But I like to tell jokes, and I like to get people to laugh and dance, and I like to give things away. Sometimes I had like the Kiss song. I like to say, okay, if you can tell me what the name of the song is, who wrote the song originally, and who the original band was that sang it, then I will give you a free t-shirt. And it's funny because there's always somebody going, I know it's Kiss, but or I know it's I know it, but is it Kiss?
Yeah.
And I'm like, as a matter of fact, it is. Good job. But who wrote it? Because it was not who you think it was. That's a Paul Stanley song.
And what was the I just asked this question. We got 1 minute, and I'm going to ignore it. What's the worst thing that ever happened to you at a gig, and the best thing? Or maybe there never was a bad thing. So
yeah, I mean, there's the gigs come and go as they go. There's been a lot of experiences, and some crazy things have happened, and you just have to roll with it. I look back on every single one of them, and I try to laugh at something about it, because I'm like, you can't get through life without finding the humor and stuff. You just have to. And when you take yourself too seriously,
Yeah.
you lose a lot of the fun. And I don't ever want to do that. So the fun, I always look for the fun stuff. I never focus on the bad stuff. I did have a gig a while back where I was getting ready to walk up on the stage, and I found out that my drummer was very sick and wasn't going to be able to make it. And I was super worried about him. So that would probably be the worst gig that I have ever had, to be honest, because I just was so worried about him.
What was the best one that confirmed your knowledge and to yourself that this is what you should be doing?
Oh man, there have been a couple.
There have been a
couple that are like that. The first one was at the Odd Otter down on 7th and Pacific, and I had gotten into a car accident the night before, and my car was totaled. I had a blood clot in my leg. I was on crutches. I was like, I'm not missing my gigs. So I played Porch Fest in Tacoma during the daytime, and then I went and I played Odd Otter that night. And when I got to the Odd Otter, there was like this tremendous crowd had shown up to see us there. It was like standing room only, and they were all coming from Porch Fest. And like this guy came up and he held my foot up the whole time so that it would be elevated. Oh my God. It was just, and we had so much fun that night. It was just so much fun. And that was like the first time where I walked out of it and I was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This music thing is going to work. I can't believe I wasted my time going to school for so long, studying psychology and teaching and all these other things that I did in counseling, when I should have just been studying music. And I kind of kicked myself in the ass for not studying music more, because I wish I had. But I mean, everybody I know went to music school, so I'm going to learn things through, I believe the word is osmosis, eventually, somehow.
All right. Okay. I guess I do have to wrap it up. I loved the conversation that we had. You'll have a copy of it. People will be watching this long after we're off the program. A lot of musicians work, as you know. So we keep in touch. I will go into your website and I will subscribe to you. I want to see what you're doing. And I'll send you one of my new songs. It's coming out in about 3 weeks.
Oh, I would love that. Yes.
And once you're on my channel, you'll be able to hear some of them. Anyway, thank you again, Meghanne. I wish you all the luck in the future. We have some mutual friends, and I'm sure we will bump into each other in the near future.
I'm sure we will too.
Sorry, I hit the wrong button. Anyway, take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, that's it for me. I have Raymond Heyman. He's been on my program a couple of times, and his lovely wife, Jessica, as well. So do tune in next week, 2:00. We'll see you then. Take care. Drive safe in the snow, and I'll see you down the road. Bye, guys.